Welcome to Talking Black and Blue, where the rivalries run deep and every Sunday is a battle. I'm your man, Wil McCann, and along with my partner, Tellis Everett, we're a couple of fans from the heart of the Midwest, bringing you real talk and weekly breakdowns from the NFC North, the Black and Blue division. So whether you wear green and gold, Honolulu blue, purple and gold, or you rep the monsters of the Midway, you are in the right place. So lace up, strap in, and let's talk black and blue. Tell us, my man, what is up?
Yes, sir. Hey, I want to thank you all for supporting the Black and Blue podcast. Do us a favor, tell your friends how much fun we have over here. Just a quick reminder, both Will and I are real estate agents in Michigan. So if you or someone you know is talking about moving in the next 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, just reach out to us. We'll help you score a touchdown in real estate. Will McCann, what about week 7?
My man, tell us. On the week, man, you and I both had a good week last week. You and I were both 4-0 last week. We
Okay.
had Green Bay over Arizona. We had Detroit over Tampa Bay. We had New Orleans over, Chicago over New Orleans. And we had Minnesota dropping their game to Pittsburgh. So you're 4-0 on the week, both of us. That puts you at 13-9 for the season. And it puts your man at 17-5 with
There
a
you go.
whole lot of week to go. A whole lot of season to go, I should say.
Yes, sir.
So, my man, tell me, what were your two or three takeaways from week 8?
Week
I'm sorry,
7?
from week 7.
Yeah. Basically, what you broke down for us, the division, the NFC North, which is what we focus on, was 3-1 on the weekend. But I'm most impressed with the Detroit backup secondary. So I know we'll get into that when we do the Detroit
Mhm.
breakdown, but man, that next man up mentality and the way the coaching staff, particularly Kevin Shepard, just um, really instilled in that team and those backups that, hey, go out and do what you do. We'll take care of the rest.
Yes, yes, they did go out. They played very well against a depleted receiver group for Tampa Bay. And I thought both groups went out and competed and battled. Um, the Detroit D line, their front seven played pretty well. I thought that really supported the back end. But man,
Hmm.
those dudes were out there making plays, man.
They
Guys
were
you've
making
never heard
plays.
of. They one guy got a pick. I think they defended 8 passes, which means they were getting their hands on the ball out there. So yeah, they played very well, and yeah, that does bode well for Kelvin Shepard and his career as he begins to make a name for himself as a DC in this league.
Right, right. I think one of the things when we were talking about at the beginning of the season, Detroit dropped that game to Green Bay. I was really critical of the fact that I felt like the starters didn't play at all during the preseason.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Dan Campbell. I didn't see the vision. I didn't see the vision. I didn't see where you went 3 seasons without having quality backups and having them ready and prepared to play in meaningful games. That's what I saw on Monday night.
Yes, yes, I agree. Having those guys who are not going to play regularly get as many live snaps as they can is important because at some point you're going to need the guys. We were talking about last week. It's hard to get through the course of a season without at some point needing backups because there are going to be injuries, right? The injury
Right.
rate in football is 100%. We always say guys are going to get injured. You need all 53 guys plus the guys that are on the practice squad, right, to get through a season. And yeah, those guys
Mhm.
did play very well for them. Any other games or any other uh, takeaways for you from last week?
That was my major takeaway. Just being impressed with what the Lions were able to do with that secondary.
Tell me, what did you think about the Chicago Bears? I mean, and their game against the New Orleans Saints.
Do you want to get into the Chicago Bear breakdown?
No, I just want to know about last week. Just what did you think about them and their game last week?
I just I felt like it was going to be a win for them.
Hmm.
They still have issues. That rushing game was solid. The defense did a great job,
Hmm.
but your major issue is that it's Caleb and the inconsistency. Still, no touchdowns. Probably had his lowest production of the season, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the Packers and their game this week? What did you think about them and their effort?
My feeling is that the Packers look a little bit like the NFC East Eagles,
Okay.
right? And I, yeah, the the defense. Yeah, we're gonna get a chance to talk about Micah
Hmm.
having a breakout game.
Hmm.
But I still feel like there's some inconsistencies with their defense, and it's a similar story for Jordan as for Caleb, is that these guys are inconsistent,
Yeah.
right? And they're in both teams, Chicago and Green Bay, are relying heavily on their defense to carry
Hmm.
the team. And Chicago was able to get the last couple of weeks, they've been able to get some rushing yards,
Hmm.
especially last week they had over 200 yards
Yeah.
rushing. And then in Green Bay with Josh Jacobs, he's been able to be successful and give them some yards there. But your quarterbacks on those two teams are just inconsistent. So I just can't. I I the ranking says Green Bay is number one in the NFC North,
Hmm.
but they're not number one in the NFC North.
I'll refer to Bill Parcells and his "You are what your record says you are." And then lastly, what did you think about the Minnesota Vikings this past week?
Yeah, you can't go back out there with Carson Wentz. I The best thing for them to do is if JJ's healthy, put the young man out there. At least he's got some juice in it and he brings some excitement to the game, and the fans will tune into that. But if you can't bring Carson Wentz out there, then that guy is I think it's past him. Or maybe the offense doesn't work for him, which is a lot to say because that offense works for a lot of quarterbacks.
A lot of
This guy,
that
this guy
coach
on
has
the
been able to bring quarterbacks in off the streets who have
Sam
looked better
Darnold.
than who have looked better than Carson Wentz has, right?
Right.
He's
Sam
got
Darnold's over there looking like a all pro in
yes,
Seattle.
I they are what did I hear somebody say? They have to be um at least have a side eye at Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, knowing that they had
Yeah.
both of them in the building last year, and this is what they have currently, right?
Right. Right.
And granted, neither one of them were coming back as long as McCarthy was there, and I get that. And Wentz, is a guy who would take that opportunity. Hey, let me go there, knowing I'm going there as a backup, hopefully get a chance to play and and prove that I can still play in this league. But man, to think that he and Jared Goff are what 10 years in now. This is
Right.
year 10 for both of those guys. And to think where Carson Wentz was and where he is now, man, that guy was, what was it, 2018? In consider 2017 in consideration for MVP, gets hurt late in the season. Nick Foles comes in, takes the team to the Super Bowl. They win, and Wentz is never the same again. Right? He's
Right.
never the same player. Right, and then now moving forward to the individual breakdowns for the teams this week. And as you were saying, let's start at the top of the division with the team who is in first place, the Green Bay Packers. Where do you feel they are as we head into week 8?
Green Bay should. have some major concerns.
Mm.
Inside, they should be looking at themselves like, okay, what do we need to do? Now, we finally got that game that we wanted to see from Micah. Uh, at
Yeah.
the end of the game, he had some sacks that
He
really
closed the
salted,
game out for them. Yeah.
closed the game out for them. Um, Critical sacks that were in the red zone. But let's be fair. That was an uninspired performance by the Green Bay Packers against the Cardinals, who had their backup in at quarterback and made him look like an all-pro quarterback. Jacoby had a passer rating over 100%. Like, what are we doing?
Hey, Jacoby Brissett can play, man. Jacoby is a grizzled vet in this league.
Right, but
He learned under the great Bill Parcells watching Tom Brady. The guy knows how to go out and manage a game. He is
he
a backup quarterback in this league.
yes.
As long as he only has to play 3 or 4 weeks, Brissett can get it done for you. Not asking him to do it 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row, you're going to run into submission.
Right, right, right.
That's when the limitations of his game start to show. But Jacoby went out in battles, man. I thought he went out in battle.
Yeah, he did. But you're the Green Bay Packers, and you're supposed to have this elite defense, and you let Jacoby Brissett. And I'll say, toward the end of the game, he started to look like a professional backup quarterback.
The more snaps he got, right?
The more snaps he got. But Green Bay, you let this guy go 25 for 36, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. And like I said, he had a passer rating 110.8. That's an elite passer rating, right?
And see, that's why I don't like the passer rating. To me, that's like looking at a guy who goes 3 for 4 in a baseball game, and you say his batting average is 770.
Hmm,
That average is meant to go over, I'm going to say, 100 attempts, 125, 150 attempts before you really can look at the efficiency rating because it's all based on the number of passes that you throw, right?
Yeah.
So for an individual game, I don't like looking at the passer rating for the game. There are certain aspects of it I like the yards per attempt and
Hmm.
how many touchdowns did he throw?
Yeah.
Where that rating takes into account, if you threw 2 touchdowns and you only threw 20 attempts, your rating's going to be higher than if you threw 2 touchdowns, but you had 30 attempts.
Yeah.
And all I care is that you scored 2 touchdowns, right? It's like
Right.
we talk about the point spread. It's just there as a guide to kind of say how much better do we think one team is than the other. But I
Hmm.
ain't using it really to pick a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I thought there, and it's hard. And like I always say, the other team has dudes too, right? Them cats didn't just show up, right? They show up to win too. So I
Yeah.
thought they put in a good effort. I mean,
Yeah.
I hear what
But
you're saying. It was kind of, and for me who likes defensive games, it was kind of a yawner, if you will. It wasn't um, a dominating defensive performance, right?
yeah,
But I
because
thought they made plays. Like I thought Cooper and Walker made key plays at the end of the game when the team needed to. And then, like you said, Micah came up with big sacks at the end of the game. It really impacted the game.
yeah, it's really I don't want to say we're nitpicking, but for Green Bay to continue to have success and get to the level where they want it, and I assume it's the NFC Championship and onto the Super Bowl, right?
Right?
Your defense, which is turning out to be the part of the team that you're relying on.
Yes.
That's how I
Yes.
look at it. You're
Yes.
relying on
Yes.
your defense and you're
Yes.
hoping your offense can get you some points and you can do
Yes.
what you need to do.
Yes.
Defensively, in this game, despite the pass rushing success they had, there were clear communication breakdowns. The
Mhm.
secondary was missing tackles. They had blown coverages. They couldn't get off the field on third downs. So again, I feel like I'm nitpicking this,
Mhm.
but if I'm in the coaching staff at Green Bay, I'm saying, guys, we got to clean this up.
Yeah, yeah.
There's we it shouldn't have been a 3-point victory, right?
Mhm.
We really should have shut this team down. And these are the problems that we had. And you gave up 23 points to the Cardinals, who had only scored over 20 once this season, I think, something like that. I might be wrong about that.
That I don't
So,
recall. I just know that they have lost five one score, six one
yeah,
score games,
yeah,
four of them on the last play. So
exactly.
they
You
played some tight games. They
yeah, Green Bay gave up 330 yards to this team. 236 was passing. And one of your issues was Nate Hobbs. He had a rough outing.
Nate
Like
did not have a good game. That
he did
no,
not
Nate
have a
did
good
not
game.
have a good game. That I agree with. Yes, yes.
He of five targets for him, there were four catches for 87 yards. He was struggling. I think he had a penalty, a holding penalty that was crucial toward the end of the game as
Yeah, I
well.
think that one was a
So
big conversion on a long yardage third down. He had a
yeah.
penalty. I think I remember.
So on one hand, yeah, we're excited. Micah finally got off. We can see what that's going to look like. But the rest of my defensive unit, if I'm Green Bay, I gotta say, man, we gotta tighten this up.
Yeah,
We got we
I
we
hear
got a
you.
long season ahead of us.
And I agree with you on both points. I agree that you are nitpicking, and I agree that they do have to get better, right?
Right.
Because, like you said, this is a team I predicted would go to the NFC Championship game. And if you ask me, does this look like a team that would play in the NFC Championship game? They haven't looked like it. And
No,
they haven't looked like it for a long time. So,
no.
yeah, I hear
Not
what you're
since
saying,
week
and I
one.
agree with you. But I week after week, it's the Jim Valvano survive and advance in the NFL. It's let's get the W. And like you said, from a coach's perspective, we're looking at it like, yeah, we won, but we really didn't play well, guys. And here's where we need to get better. And I think
Right.
that is the attitude that Matt LaFleur will take with his team.
Yeah. And to your point, they haven't looked like a championship team since week one.
Yeah, well, I thought they did the next week against Washington, was it? I think they played Washington week two. It was for them that, like I said, sometimes the bye or long layoffs can kill a team's momentum. And I thought it did for them. Plus, they went on the road. Their first two games were at home, and then they had the long layoff and went on the
Right.
road. And they've been kind of flat since.
Yeah, they've been flat on the road, definitely.
All right, let's talk about the second place team who is on a bye this week, the Detroit Lions. So, how do you think the Lions should feel about their season at this point as we head into week eight?
The Lions they definitely should feel good coming off that Monday night game. They took off one of the better teams in the league and the MVP candidate in Baker Mayfield.
Bay, my man Bay.
In that secondary, we got into a little bit earlier in the pod. That secondary of just, you know, practice players, people that were on the street or playing in like the minor league
Yeah.
football, wherever they were playing. Those guys
Yeah.
came in and they did the job, right?
Yeah.
And for Detroit, that's a best case scenario for them in this particular game. And I know that Tampa was a little weak in the with the receiving core, and then you had Evans go out. So Detroit has some help there.
Yeah.
However, if you don't have Jahmyr Gibbs break off an 87-yard rush for a touchdown,
It was 78, wasn't it?
78.
78, yeah.
Yeah, 78. This game looks a lot different.
True, true.
And the offensive line looked a little inconsistent to me, right? I don't know if you saw when you were watching the game, if you saw that too, where it just seemed like some plays they were taking it off, and then other plays they had it going and they can do what they needed to do. And I know Via is what, 400 pounds and 7 feet tall.
That dude is an anchor, right?
And he can move like a jaguar.
He is an anchor. When he sits down, he ain't going nowhere.
So I'm just a little bit concerned about what I saw, but again, I look at what Tampa Bay's rushing defense looks like, and
Yeah,
I'm like, okay,
yeah, yeah.
you you did what you needed to do as a Lions to stay relevant in the NFC North
Hmm.
and be considered one of the better teams in the NFL. You're going into the bye week. Definitely, you're going to have Branch back, and then for week 9, and
Yeah.
hopefully you get your regular safeties back, Joseph and those guys. So
Mhm.
they should feel good where they're at. I was just a little concerned about the offensive line. What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought that was good old fashioned Tampa Bay for a hot minute was in the old NFC Central division with the other members with Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. Tampa Bay was the fifth team in that division for about 20 years. And I just thought it was an old fashioned NFC slugfest, man. It was a grinded out game that was played at the line of scrimmage. And I just thought there were times the Tampa Bay D line whooped the ass of the Detroit Lions offensive line. I just thought and that the D line for Detroit was winning that battle against Tampa's O
Hmm.
line. Tristan Wirfs was back. I think both teams had guys who were back from injury. They both had their full offensive line. I just thought it was a battle that the Tampa Bay defensive line was just winning at times. Because you're right, they were really killing the run game of Detroit, aside from the big run by Gibbs. And is Levante David, man? Can somebody give that guy a urine test? How's that guy still dominating this late in the league? What is this guy taking, man?
Right,
That guy
right.
was the best linebacker in the league in 2014, dude. I'm looking up and
Exactly.
his name is still all over the place. I love that guy. Like you said, Vita Vea on the inside against, two young offensive linemen and Graham Glasgow. He was just winning those battles.
Hmm. Hmm.
And their O
Hmm.
line was their D line was spent a lot of time in Detroit's backfield. Uh,
Right,
Goff hung in, he threw it. That's why he ended up throwing a lot of sharp passes, right? It's like, got to get it out of my hands. Let's try to get it in the hands of some of our playmakers. Gibbs broke off a few runs, right? For the
right.
most part, Tampa Bay secondary, we were talking about Green Bay secondary not tackling well. I thought Tampa Bay secondary did a good job of tackling well. But yeah, I don't think it was as much with Detroit's O line. I don't think it was as much as they didn't play well. I thought they were where they needed to be when they needed to be there. It's just that Tampa Bay guys were blowing past because they were so fast. And Vita Vea, when that guy decides to go speed to power, he's pushing everybody back into the quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. And there were definitely times where I felt like with Gibbs, I was watching Barry Sanders. It's like we- we're gonna have a loss of 5 yards, and then you're gonna pick up 15 yards, right? But I think one of the things that I saw was how well Penei Sewell and Tate Rutledge were working together and creating big holes at times for Gibbs to get through. And it wasn't, if I'm comparing the two running backs, Gibbs and Montgomery,
Mhm.
Montgomery, I don't know if he doesn't have the vision to see those holes or he doesn't have that first quick step. compared to Gibbs, but those two, Panay and Tate, were creating big holes at times that just opened up the game for them.
Yeah, running on the right side for them behind Panay and Ratledge is where their strength is in their run game. Panay had a chance to just blow up Whitfield on one play, and he decided not to down his goal. I don't know whether he was worried about getting a penalty, but he had already thrown one guy to the ground, and he's going out after Whitfield, and he gets there and decides not to block him. And
Yeah,
Whitfield ends up tackling Gibbs near the goal line. But yeah, it was. I think their O line has gotten better as the season has gone on. Um, I think their defense is playing a lot better than I think people and people in general thought they would heading into the season. Jack Campbell,
Detroit's defense.
Detroit's defense, yeah.
Okay.
Jack Campbell is really playing well in the middle of their defense, man. As long
Hmm.
as he continues to play well, they're getting Aleem McNeil back now. Their next three games coming up are home against Minnesota, at Washington, home against Philly. So, they've got games coming up against the NFC East. They're going to have some tough games coming.
Yeah.
Minnesota, always the division games are always tough. So the bye came at a good time for them, and I think they'll come out of the bye, looking to make a little run.
Well, you know, my take on the Detroit Lions defense is that I feel like they, as a unit, feel underrated and have a chip on their shoulder. So they're gonna come after every team and try to put their stamp on it and make this season more about a whole team, or at least everyone's not just talking about the offense like we just did now. And they start to talk about the defense. So again, with those backups, they created turnovers, interceptions, fumbles. And you mentioned Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell was probably just turning around going, "Hey, 23, great play." Because he didn't know his,
Don't even know
he
his
didn't know who
name,
was out
right?
there, right? But that they limited the passing attack. And again, I know that Tampa Bay has some injuries, but
Mhm.
for this game and in this season, Mayfield had his worst outing, right? Again, we get back to 28 successful completions for 50 passes,
They have 50 attempts though.
50 attempts.
And when you read stats like that, you know that they have completely shut down the run game. If
Right.
you have to throw the ball 50 times, and it
Yeah.
really is hard to win when you have no balance in your offense and you're one dimensional. Yeah, you
Yeah.
make it easier to play defense when you shut down the run and you only have to play the pass.
Right. And I don't recall if Aiden Hutchinson had a sack, but overall,
He
the
did.
team had one of the highest pressure ratings by percentage for the week for week 7 compared to the NFL. So they were definitely getting to Baker
They
and
were
rattling him and moving
affecting the
him off his,
quarterback. Yeah.
yeah, getting him off his spot and making him move a little bit and making it difficult for him to get those passes out. So again, kudos to Kellen Shepard and those guys that came in, the no name secondary. Hopefully, the Lions can find some room to keep some of these guys, or yeah, because it's a long season,
Yeah,
right?
it's a long
And
season.
and last year proved that you have to have depth. You have to have quality depth. And this game shows that Detroit's on the way.
All right, moving on to the third place team in the division. The team who started the season 0-5. Oh, wait, no, no, wait, no, they did. Wait a minute. Wrong team, wrong team.
Uh,
Wrong Detroit coordinator. Wrong Detroit coordinator, my bad.
right, right. The wrong one.
But let's talk about the monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears. How do you think they should feel about themselves going into week 8?
if I'm a Chicago Bears, if I'm in that facility and if I'm a Chicago Bears fan, I'm excited.
Mm.
I'm excited because we are seeing positive signs of the culture that Ben Johnson is bringing to the facility, right, and to the team. That defense was crazy good. I mean, they were lights out. And then you're starting to get that rushing game for Chicago. That's starting to click for them. So those are your positives.
Yeah.
Your negative is that you pretty much have a rookie quarterback. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
he's
You
just
do.
inconsistent. Um, I, you know, they played the Saints, so I can't I I can't beat Chicago up for playing who they play.
Right. Right.
However, I did want to see the quarterback in Chicago be a little bit more polished against a team like the Saints.
Yeah, I hear you. But like you said, though, and I think you made an excellent point, man, the guy is a rookie quarterback. And if
Yes.
you view him as a rookie quarterback, then I think it's difficult for me to be that hard on him, right? Because he's learning and he's growing. And I see positive improvements out of the kid, man. And
Hmm.
I think Ben Johnson's nurturing him along. He's coming along slowly. He's still got some bad habits that have to be coached out of him. But I think he's headed in the right direction. The things I was concerned about, is the kid coachable? Um, is he a Hollywood quarterback? Right? Is he's not a grinder? But those things I think are less of a concern for me now. And now it's all about how quickly can he pick up the nuances of the position, right?
Right.
Stop taking so many sacks, my man.
Yeah.
Stop trying to escape out of the back of the pocket. And here's your best friend, the check down. All right.
Yeah.
Take the check down and let's go another play. You're better to be in 2nd and 8 than 2nd and 10. No, it doesn't sound like much, but there is a difference. And you certainly don't want to be in 2nd and 12 because you're
Right.
running around trying to make a play. But I
Yeah.
think, and like you said, their defense, man, Dennis Allen's defense. Again, Dennis Allen is listening to the podcast because he's like, "Oh, what did you say about my defense, Wil McCann?" DeAndre Swift is still mad at me, right?
Right. Right. DeAndre Swift was like, here's a second game for you, Will
Right.
McCann.
Just in case you didn't think I was for real the first time, Wil McCann, check
Right.
this
Right.
out, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying watching the development of the Bears, man. I was concerned about the organization, right? And whether or not they had the organization to really support Ben Johnson and he would get a fair chance to try to implement his system? Or was it going to be a lot of dysfunction within the organization, infighting, people with silos? Doesn't seem to be that type of thing. I think he's brought that vibe there. But hey, guys, let's all, we're going to all get on the sled and we're all going to move in the same direction. Uh,
Right.
and if not, get off and we'll get somebody else to get on, right?
Right.
So I've been impressed with. They're even better than they are playing better than I thought they would. They've got. They're at Baltimore this week without Lamar. Then they've got Cincinnati, the Giants, and Minnesota. So they're going to have some tough games coming up because they'll be at Cincinnati and at Minnesota. So they're going to have some tough games coming up. They have a game at home this week with Baltimore where I think they're going to make an effort to go out and really try to get that game and try to keep their season rolling in a
Yeah.
positive fashion.
Yeah. And I feel like for Chicago, if they finish 500, that's a success for them. But what I want to say is when they get to the post or when they get to the off season and the draft, if they take some offensive linemen to shore up that pass,
Mm-hmm.
protection,
Yeah, and that's the
then you're gonna know that the organization is backing Ben Johnson because that's the weakness. We're talking about the inconsistency of Caleb, but part of that is because they don't have the pass protection that they need. Now they're doing great with the rushing,
mhm.
right? Part of it, but that pass protection, it breaks down. And I know that he holds the ball a long time and he's got to get those checkdowns. But I do feel like there may be one or two pieces on that line that if they can pick up and solidify for pass rushing, then they're going to be a beast in the NFC North.
Yeah, Jonah Jackson at one guard, Kevin Zeitler, not Kevin Zeitler, Tooney, Tooney at the other guard. I mean, they invested a lot in those guys this offseason. You would have expected better play. Like you said, they're just starting to get the run game going. Dahlman has been good at center. They've got the tackle, the high draft pick, can't think of his name right now. So I think they've made some investments in their offensive line. I think they just have some guys who aren't playing well right now, right?
Yeah,
And they've definitely got to pick it up here in the second half to get the pass game going. But a lot of their sacks is because the
yeah,
quarterback just holds onto the ball. Now, these are rhythm plays, man. You got to get rid of the ball. You can't be
yeah,
a hero. That doesn't work in this league.
yeah,
That
yeah.
gets you, being a hero in this league gets you 8 weeks on the IR. All right, and
Or it
then
gets or it gets you benched in in New York.
Woo, talk about looking for a quarterback, former quarterback in this division, right? Justin Fields. Woo,
Yep,
having a
yep.
rough season in New York.
Yes, sir.
And then moving on to the fourth place team in this division, the Minnesota Vikings. At 500, they are on their bye this week. I take that back. They're going to Detroit's on their bye. I'm looking at my wrong notes here. They are going to LA to play the Chargers this week. Uh, how do you think they should feel about themselves as a unit as they get ready to head into week 8?
Look, so we talked about the quarterback situation. I, is JJ, do we know if JJ is playing this week at all or no?
Probably not. And you
Okay.
know the fact that they are even talking about trying to play JJ and where he is health wise, I think agrees with what you were saying about Carson Wentz. Right? But no, the right as of right now, today is Wednesday. Like you said, we record our shows on Wednesday. Haven't seen an injury report and whether or not McCarthy practiced this week. But I heard a report yesterday from O'Connell that they are monitoring him. He's now considered day to day.
Okay. So we might see what's the young man's name? Brumson or
Their third string quarterback,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't think of my man's name.
Yeah. Um,
But
simply
that might
because,
go to him this week.
well, I feel like if Carson Wentz throws an interception in the first half, it's a wrap for him, right? But aside from that, I want to say that, look, that defense is supposed to be carrying the team. They are not. Not, I mean, you let Jalen Hurts go out here and have the best game of his season.
And you you
You got the Philadelphia Eagles feeling like everybody's happy, all the receivers are happy now, they got their touches.
you say that about Jalen Hurts, man, like he's the starter at Saginaw Valley State, man. I mean, we are talking about a guy who has started two of the last three Super Bowls and has thrown for over 300 yards in both of those games. So we're not talking about a bum who went off against them. We're talking
No,
about a dude, right?
yeah, yeah. We're not talking about a bum, but we're also we also
He's
have to
not an
say
elite quarterback. No, I would not
he's
say
not an elite
he's elite.
quarterback, and that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
He's in that same class with Jordan Love for me. Even though he's got the championship and he's MVP and all those type of things, he's not an elite quarterback. But you let your defense allowed the Eagles to get right. So you not only do you have a concern on the offensive side of the ball, especially with your quarterback, because you don't even with JJ back, you don't have a consistent, strong leader quarterback individual, right?
Mhm.
Your rushing game, because your defense is giving up points, the rushing game is negated, so you got to throw the ball. So they have some issues. I didn't think they would be where they're
Mhm.
at the beginning of the season, where they're at right now. And I mean, they're going out to LA, and I don't see that being looking good for them.
See, I think what you said to me last week about the Bears and their defense, I really think applies to Minnesota and their defense for you. Because I think they've played way better than you're giving them credit for. Now, are they out here dominating? No, they're not dominating. But, it's Jalen Hurts has lit up a lot of people.
Has he lit up a lot of people?
Yes, yes. See, people think
Mm,
yes.
mm,
When it's
mm.
necessary, has he had games like this? Yes,
Yes,
because he's
far and
got
few
Devontae
between
Smith.
though.
He's got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, right?
Yeah,
He can always just throw the ball deep, and he throws a beautiful deep ball. Has he had games where he is just where, and they've got one of the best O lines in the league? We're going to max protect, and we're going to throw the ball one on one, and we're going to see if one of our guys can make a play. That is their offense. That's what they do. And if
they
they're able to make those plays, when they get those chunk plays like that, because I think they had what 4 plays of more than 30 yards. Three of them were big touchdowns. That was the concerning part for me. Where are their safeties on those plays? Especially, well, Smith is Devontae Smith is their Jamison Williams. He's just going to run past everybody, and if anybody turns their head the wrong way, it's over with. Right? So I get that. That was just a physical matchup that he won. But
yeah.
and then the AJ Brown passes are, him going deep and just out battling the D back. That's what Philadelphia does. And people,
But they weren't doing that up until this week.
I'm protective of Jalen Hurts because Jalen is my dude, man. He is just one of my favorite people. Is he an elite quarterback? No, he is not. I take that back. Is he an elite passer? No, he is not. He
Okay.
is an elite quarterback.
Okay. I I agree with you in that point. And Jalen is one of my favorite players. So I can be I can be a little bit tough on my some of my favorite
On
players
your
because
guys, right? On your
because
yeah,
I need to see a little bit more.
you expect more out of him.
Right. And this is not a breakdown of the Eagles and Jalen Hurts.
True.
This is not what we do because we're not watching them week in, week out. But I gotta say, there are games where Jalen Hurts doesn't even throw the ball in
You
that
have
offense.
had games where he has not had 200 yards passing. I
Right,
get that.
right. And this year, for whatever reason, they can't rush the ball. So he's gotta step up and get that ball out and throw it, right? So my point simply is that we haven't seen this Jalen Hurts until week 7
Until
against
they played the
Minnesota.
Vikings.
That's what I'm saying. So Justin Herbert, get ready because he has a cannon too.
You said Justin's loosening up.
Right, exactly.
All
Uh,
right, well, that takes us through the individual team reports. Let's turn to the games for week 8. And let's start with the Green Bay Packers going to Pittsburgh, taking on the Steel Curtain.
all right, so the Packers are favored by 3.5. The over/under is 44.5. I do have the score Packers 14, Steelers 17. And the logic behind this for me is that, well, I'm gonna back up. Logically, you would think that Green Bay's offense is better than the Steelers' defense,
Mm.
and Green Bay's defense is better than the Steelers' offense. Follow me?
Yep.
However, the one time Jordan Love has faced the Steelers and that madman of a coach over there, this was back in 2023, November 2023. He had a 52% completion rate, two touchdowns, and two interceptions.
Mm.
So we get back to that inconsistency that we see from Love. And it's also an opportunity for your guy over there, Aaron Rodgers, to become one of the, I don't know, maybe the first or maybe just a handful of quarterbacks that have beat all
That
32
beat all
teams.
32 teams. Yeah, I think there are only a few. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only a
It
handful.
is.
Yeah.
So there's some things in there, and it's a home game for the Steelers. Packers haven't looked good on the road, even even with the victory and the tie, they haven't looked good on the road. So I'm going Packers 14, Steelers 17.
Yeah, this one was a really hard game for me, man. I kept going back and forth for all the reasons you said. This is a home game for the Steelers. Um, kind of going with the up down theory, also with Pittsburgh coming off the Thursday night loss. Know they want to get back on their winning ways. Aaron Rodgers wants to beat the Packers. The Packers, going on the road, like you said, they haven't looked well on the road. At some point, I think you're gonna see them play a good game on it. They're too good not to, and I kind of have the feeling this is the week where they're gonna play a better game on the road. Um, I think they have a team where they can run the ball, kind of control the game, running the football. Pittsburgh has not looked well against the run this year. But this is a Mike Tomlin team, man. Mike Tomlin knows how to get his team ready for big games as long as it's not Thursday night. So I kept going back and forth, man. I need some more week to figure out where I want to be. But I don't know, man. At this point today, I'm going to say Green Bay 27, Pittsburgh 24,
Ooh, high score.
with some points scored in this game. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
All right. And then moving on to the Minnesota Vikings at the Los Angeles Chargers. Tell me where you see that game.
Chargers are favored by 3.5. The over/under is 44.5. I have the Vikings 10, Chargers 16. Like I was saying earlier, if Wentz throws an interception, we're going to see Max Brosmer in the game.
Yes, I did look his name up too. Brosmer is his name.
Yeah, we're going to see Max Brosmer in the game. And if the Chiefs get out to an early lead, that just means that the Vikings have to, get away from the rushing game and rely on trying to come back. So, and by the way, the Vikings rushing offense is currently 20th in the NFL.
Mhm.
So even if it is a tough game and the score is tight enough where they can continue to rush the ball,
Mhm.
they're not efficient at all. So
Yeah,
for
yeah, they
me,
really have problems
Vikings
running the ball.
Yeah, Vikings going on the road and the Chargers. I just feel like the Chargers are gonna win it, but I feel it's gonna be a low scoring game. I got Vikings 10, Chargers 16.
That's what I thought you said. I was going to ask you to double check. I'm like, is that what you said?
That's what I said. Take the under if you're
Take
betting
the
it.
under in this joint.
But don't be a knucklehead. Pay your bills
That's
first.
right after you pay your bills. Yeah, in that game, man, I Minnesota going on the road without a quarterback. I'm gonna say until I see better play out of McCarthy. We know who Wentz is. Wentz is who we thought he was, right? Um, just a backup to somebody who's serviceable to go out there and finish games for him. He has to go out there and not turn the football over. Fortunately, I think, unfortunately for them, I should say, Chargers are starting to get some players back on defense that could impact the game for Minnesota offensively. The issue with the Chargers, though, they don't have their starting tackles, man, and they have really had issues protecting Justin Herbert without their starting tackles. And with Minnesota coming in with their edge rushers, I expect them to put a lot of heat on the Chargers. But I expect the Chargers to grind it out. I think they will end up winning this game, and I've got this one: Chargers 27, Minnesota 20.
Okay. High score. High score.
Probably a lot more points in that game. I probably have the score high. It's probably going to be closer to, I take that back. It's going to be somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You've only got 26 points in that. You really went under.
Minnesota's got to show me something. They got to show me something. And then you don't have a quarter, like you said, you're going out there without a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. And then lastly, we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Baltimore Ravens.
Now, before I get into this, are we certain that um,
Lamar's not going to play.
Lamar's not playing?
Um,
Because the odds speak to him playing.
he didn't practice Monday. They said he didn't practice, right?
Okay.
Tuesday is typically an off days for guys. So I don't know what their schedule was. And then, like I said, today's Wednesday. They probably are practicing right now. And I haven't heard if he practiced today, but he didn't practice Monday. And he's also listed as day to day. I take that back. He is also listed as day to
He's
day.
listed day to day.
But it
Okay.
did look like Snoop Huntley was going to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
The numbers have Baltimore favored by 6.5 and the over under of 49.5. If Lamar's playing, first off, I'm gonna say this. John Harbaugh
Hmm.
is 16-4 after a bye week,
Coming off a bye. Yeah.
coming off a bye. So that alone, I have the Ravens winning the game. Okay, so
Okay.
you can write down Tellis Ravens. Now, if Lamar's playing,
Mm,
this is my score. Bears
okay.
24, Ravens 31.
Okay.
Okay. If Lamar's not playing, it's going to be a closer game,
Mm,
but still I have the Ravens winning.
okay.
But this might be a chance where we talk about Caleb holding the ball as much as he does. This might be a chance for the Baltimore Ravens to leap from the last place in sacks in the league to maybe 10th in the league.
They can get right. They can get their stats right this week.
Right, right. That those stacks.
Baltimore, yeah, Matabike is done for the season in the middle of their defense. So we were talking earlier about the interior of the Chicago offensive line. They'll get a break because Baltimore won't have its best tackle. Uh, I expect them to play better. I expect them to be able to run the football. I expect this to be a good old fashioned slugfest. This is going to be a slugfest. The pads are going to be cracking in this game. And I've got Chicago winning though over Baltimore 20-17.
20 to 17. That sounds like a more realistic score, definitely. If you think about how Detroit, or not Detroit, how Chicago has been approaching their offense and
Mhm.
really relying on the rushing game, right? And then if you're the Ravens and you don't have Lamar, then you got to rely on that rushing game too. So this
Right.
might be a Will McCann type of game.
That's what I meant. Like I said, I expect the pads to be cracking.
It's
I
a
expect
in the
both teams
trenches
to run the
game.
ball. Both teams are going to run the ball 35 times.
Right, right, right. That'd be fun to watch. Be
I'm
fun to
looking
watch.
forward to it. Well, tell us that puts a wrap on this episode, man, as we put a bow tie on it to finish it up. What do you have for us, my man?
Yes, sir. Well, we want to say that we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. You know, Will and I love talking football, but when we're not breaking down the NFC North, we're helping people buy, sell, or invest in real estate. If you have questions about your next move, don't fumble the ball. Contact us for our winning real estate game plan. Fellas, share the pod with your buddies, and ladies, share it with your crew. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't be a knucklehead. Drop us that 5-star rating.
All right, my man. Hey, appreciate you this week, man. Look forward to watching the games this week. And folks, we will see you next time.
Yes, sir.